My name is Dana Knowles, and I am in recovery from opiate painkiller addiction for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years next month, so I'm very... Thank you. I do have to say, it's so weird, like still, being in recovery, it's still a strange feeling for me to walk into a room and have people like be happy to see me and not be like, oh. So it's kind of nice. But before I get into my personal story, I wanted to kind of give you an analogy to give you a general perspective of what addiction is like if you've never experienced it personally, which I assume most of you probably have not. And in this analogy, we're going to replace opiate painkillers with sugar. And what made me think of this analogy is a situation that my husband found himself in. He was trying to quit sugar. He gets a pretty intense sweet tooth late at night after dinner, and he usually sneaks out the back door and drives to our nearest Sonic. So the problem is that all of that vanilla ice cream does not leave him feeling all that well once he's done eating it. And a bigger problem for me is that the dairy makes him snore. So if any of you have tried to quit or cut back on sugar, maybe you can relate to this. He had a very, very difficult time doing it. After dinner most nights, he'd kind of pace around the house, just sort of like in this, with this nervous tension, figuring out what he was gonna do. Is he gonna just go ahead and say, screw it, I'm gonna have sugar, am I not gonna do it? He was preoccupied a lot, and then oftentimes he'd go into work the next day and say, oh, I'll just have something today. And then the night would obviously come around again, and he'd be thinking about sugar all over again. Again, in this analogy, we're replacing sugar with opiates. And if you think about it, it would continue to get worse. You'd get a sugar high, and then you'd get the crash. And after the crash, you'd get really sick if you don't consume any more sugar. Now we can sort of replace the opiates with the sugar. You don't get any more opiates. You get diarrhea, migraine headaches, cold sweats, hot sweats, extreme stomach cramps, nausea. And then about 2 weeks after you had your last dose of opiates, you get these feelings of like these electric shocks that go up. They start in your feet and they go all the way up your back and to the back of your neck. And you continue to obsess over it, even though you know it's terrible for you. You know it's bad for you. You're literally fighting this battle against your own mind. Now, some of my story. On August 28th, 2016, my husband basically told me he'd had enough. He delivered me to the nearest emergency room in our neighborhood and told me that I had to stay away from home indefinitely. So less than a week after that, I was on a plane to South Florida with no wallet, no money, no phone, just a passport. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I stayed away for 3 months. Unfortunately, it was my third time in rehab in 2 years. I ended up going to Florida outside of Colorado because the treatment center that I went to twice before doesn't take insurance. And so the 2 previous times, we had to come up with $26,000 out of our own pocket to pay for it. And this third time, my husband was like, we can't afford to keep doing this, so we have to find some place that has insurance. And this place in Florida had insurance. So now I'm here almost 2 years later talking to you, and I consider myself extremely lucky. Because over the last 2 years, 15 of my friends that I made when I was in treatment in South Florida are dead. They died mostly from overdoses, and a few of my friends committed suicide. That is why I'm not anonymous anymore. I am not anonymous anymore has been my mantra for almost a year now since I started talking publicly about my opiate painkiller addiction. I decided to take my shame out of dark church basements and literally bring it into the light. I know that sounds very cliched, but I couldn't think of a better way to sort of express it. I wanted people to see me. I wanted them to see the disease. I wanted them to see addiction. And I feel like if you can talk about these things not just with other addicts, but with normal people and people who can affect some change, in healthcare and mental health care, maybe that's the way to go. So I do this for myself, and I also do this for my friends who have died. A psychiatrist of mine a while ago mentioned a pretty shocking statistic, and that is around 80% of addicts, and with addicts I also include alcoholics because alcohol is a drug. He told me that around 80% of addicts had some sort of childhood trauma that was never addressed. And I'm definitely part of that statistic because I was molested from the age of 5 to 6 years old by a teenage son of a caregiver. He also threatened me with my life if I told anyone, so obviously I did my best to sort of bury the memories and the pain of that experience. But the problem is that that made things worse for me as I got older. Part of my emotional development stopped. As I headed into my 20s, my perfectionism also kicked in. I developed an eating disorder. I started working as a TV reporter and couldn't sleep, so my first addiction was sleeping pills. Fortunately, I was able to kick sleeping pills on my own, but not opiates. I had several surgeries in my 20s through my late 30s for endometriosis, uterine fibroids, and I also had 2 C-sections. And after those procedures, I would get pain meds, and I would finish the entire bottle in a third of the time that I was supposed to, and then get depressed for about 2 weeks after they were gone. It wasn't until after my hip surgery almost 7 years ago that I couldn't stop taking them. And at that point, I started hiding everything from my husband and family until I got caught. I got caught because I stole a bottle of Percocet from a friend, and it was easy to figure out who took them. Word got back to my husband, and I ended up in treatment for the first time. I stayed clean for about 10 months and started drinking socially, which was horrible because alcohol sort of hits the same part of your brain that opiates does. So I started getting opiate cravings, and I relapsed again off and on for about a year. That brings us to August of 2016 when I went back into treatment. And then this year, like I mentioned in the beginning, August of 2018, I'll have 2 years of being clean and sober from all mind-altering substances. Thank you. My time is up. I just want to wrap it up and say that these days I really focus on my mental, physical, and spiritual health. I try to eat right. I try to practice real self-care, which is not shopping and going out for really expensive sushi. I do a lot of yoga. I practice transcendental meditation. I see a therapist. I have friends in recovery. I don't try to do any of this by myself anymore like I used to. I also have a blog, sort of a health and wellness blog that I run, and I do a lot of show and tell with some of the healthy foods that I eat and some of just the practical things that I go through with 3 kids. I have a 10-year-old and twin 7-year-olds, and I just try to put myself out there as real as possible without hiding anything. From now on, I am in the light. I'm no longer anonymous, and I never will be. And I thank you so much for letting me be here today to share my story.
Hi. My name is Barb Becker, and I am Director of Mental Health First Aid Colorado. And about a year ago, we took on this whole storytelling kind of thing ourselves, and I just see the power of storytelling in what we do. So we started gathering, collecting stories as well, and the stories, I'm going to tell 2 stories today that intersect. But the stories that I am going to tell, I got accidentally, which is often the way that these things happen. So the first story that I'm going to tell is about a 15-year-old girl named Victoria. So anybody in here who has ever raised a child or has children in those adolescent years or who has ever been an adolescent themselves, perhaps you can relate. You know, we heard Camilla in terms of that adolescent brain doesn't always make the best choices. So just for a couple of minutes here, I would like for you to kind of channel your inner 15-year-old and relate to Victoria. Typical teenager in many ways, ready to take on the world, total know-it-all with just a hint of rebellion, a bit insecure about her appearance. She's just starting to think about and fantasize what it's going to be like to live independently once she graduates. She's dealing with a fair amount of stress, trying to achieve more academically to get to a good college, dealing with relationships. Friendships are incredibly important, and she's starting to develop a crush on somebody. Also, typically, she's struggling with peer pressure, wanting to spend more time alone discovering what her own passions are, and is more than just a little bit obstinate, disagreeing with her parents, wanting to debate everything. So she's a sophomore in high school, and as the sophomore year goes on, something changes just a little bit. She has an even stronger desire to be separated from her parents and become more independent. She has a great deal of moodiness, spending more time isolating herself in her room on her computer. She's become more dramatic, often short-tempered, oversensitive, and of course, as a 15-year-old, doesn't have the true coping skills to deal with all of that. Is this normal adolescence or issues to pay closer attention to? From all outward appearances, she truly is the girl who has it all. She's attractive, she's been getting really good grades, she's excelled at sports, she has a lot of friends. But inside, she started to feel a lot more insecure. She looks in the mirror, she sees a girl full of flaws. She's not the weight she wants to be. She doesn't look as pretty as she wants to be. In spite of her good grades, she feels she is failing. She's beginning to get more and more sad, maybe even depressed. She doesn't want to worry her parents, so she continues this outward appearance of happiness. She gets into a fight with her best friend who splatters all kinds of things around social media. She doesn't get asked to homecoming. She starts thinking more and more, is it worth it? She starts experimenting with alcohol, not a lot, but she feels like it calms her down. End of October, she reluctantly goes to a family picnic, reunion of sorts. Sort of becomes typical, she isolates herself, she goes over, sits on a bench, puts in her headphones, just disconnects and continues to think. She just wants to give up. So I'm gonna leave Victoria there on the bench for just a minute and tell you the other story. Second story is about a young woman named Samantha, overachiever, early in her career. She's establishing herself in a new job and is eager to please. She's very competitive and wants to stand out among her peers. Different opportunities arise, and she avails herself of all of them. One day, her boss tells her about a class, mental health first aid. He wants all of the staff to go. It's definitely not a class she's excited about. She doesn't have mental health issues. She doesn't know anybody who has mental health issues. Anybody who has mental health issues is one of those people out on the street. She doesn't see why she needs to do it, but again, she's that overachiever, eager to please. She takes the class. She's surprised when she takes the class to learn the breadth of information. It really surprises her to hear the prevalence of mental health and substance use issues. Overall, she's glad she takes the class, but she's still convinced she's never going to use it. Remember, she's the one who doesn't have mental health issues, doesn't know anybody with mental health issues. Figures she might come in contact with somebody after she takes the class, but still convinced it's out there. About a week after she takes that class, she attends a family reunion. So she goes in, she's very close to her family, she interacts with a lot of people, but eventually she sees her young cousin Victoria sitting over by herself, headphones in, not interacting. So as you can probably guess, the conversation proceeds slowly at first, and then a torrential outpouring of emotion comes out. Victoria confides in Samantha that all the things that she's struggling with. She lets her know that some days she can barely get out of bed. She doesn't want to tell her parents, she doesn't want to hurt them, but she just doesn't know whether it's worth going on. So very tentatively, Samantha utilizes the skills she learned in her class and asks Victoria if she's thinking about suicide. Victoria completely denies all suicidal ideation. Samantha persists in talking with her about what is going on, and she convinces Victoria to bring in her parents into the conversation. Although they're totally terrified about what is going on, Samantha's able to give her information, give the parents information about the resources that are out there, and just share some of the information she learned. I don't know where Victoria and Samantha are today, but I do know that Samantha was able to provide an intervention that was critical to Victoria's well-being at a time she desperately needed it. Samantha told me, although I ended up glad that I took mental health first aid, I really did not think I would ever use the information I learned in class. I certainly never thought I would use it within my own family. I will never again doubt the importance of what one person is able to do in order to affect change in the world. I believe I may have saved Victoria's life because I knew how to go about assessing what she was going through and guide her to get the help she needed. I feel so much more powerful in my life knowing that I can help people like this. Who knows, maybe someday I may be the person who is reaching out for that assistance. I do believe in storytelling. I do believe that we are all richer for sharing our stories and for being able to hear each other's stories. So I encourage you throughout this conference to be able to do that. And my final piece of wisdom would be, if you're still channeling that inner 15-year-old, you might want to put it aside and not make this conference your band trip. So we don't want those stories. Thank you very much.